Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we got Cool Cats back in from the Bfree Studio. Joining us is Zachary Dobbins, gallery manager for the studio. How you doing, Zach? Can I call you Zach?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm doing well. I think I've been here one other time for our more than one exhibition, but yeah, it's great to be back. Thank you.
Good to see you over here, and honored to have on artists Glen Wilson and April Banks. Glen, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. How are you doing, April?
Excellent. I'm happy it's Friday.
Oh, it is. Is it Friday? That's right. It is Friday over here. I'm going to introduce you to my co-host, Erin Tanner. She's been doing a great job over the last month or so, and I think she's got a question right out of the gate for you, Zach.
I sure do. The mission of your guys' organization, can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so Bfree Studio definitely prides itself on being a community-based gallery and really bringing forward, questions to La Jolla and questions to our community that are engaging in some way, whether it be focusing on emerging artists or more established artists that have that unique question to bring, to La Jolla. I'd say that's our main goal at the end of the day.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that you guys were going to be here, I was like, I know them. I've been in there.
Have you been in the studio?
I have. I'm a huge lover of arts, and so
there you
thank you. Yeah.
You got a fan over here. Are you an artist also, Zach?
Yeah. I have my own personal art practice where I focus on sculpture and installation art. I investigating these themes of Americana through my work, but that's that's kind of what I do personally. But at the studio, I manage the gallery itself, right, and work with the artists closely on all the installations and the how to conceptually tell their stories, and the viewing experience is really what I take a lot of pride in, other than the fact of making things run throughout the day.
Yeah, that is an important thing for a gallery manager, I imagine. What's the address of the studio?
The gallery is located at 7857 Girard Avenue in La Jolla. We're right on the main kind of strip, Girard, right near the Athenaeum, and between there and Girard Gourmet. If you're ever getting a bite to eat, you'll find us.
There's some great restaurants there with a great view and all that business. April, how much have you been involved with artistry since you were born, or this just snapped up to you after you were in college? You've enjoyed it for how long? Your whole life, I imagine.
Well, yeah, I think we're all artists. We just resist it. And I did resist it. I went to architecture school, but eventually stopped trying to run away from my calling, I guess around 2000. So I've been at it for a while now. And so, yeah, I'm happy to be showing. I've shown all through California, but never in San Diego or La Jolla area, Southern California, below Los Angeles. So I'm excited for this show and to be in conversation with Glen and June.
No, I think that's terrific. You said everybody's an artist. You obviously haven't seen me do stick figures, and I am not an artist. My mom was an artist, actually, in L.A. She had a place called the Abbey Gallery. This is a zillion years ago where I grew up. So I love artists. And so how about you, Glen? Have you always had the art bug?
Yes, couldn't avoid it. My mother is both a fantastic photographer and now retired 40-year teacher. She taught art and photography specifically. So, and both of her folks were professional artists as well. So it's always been around and a comfortable vocation, something that's been endorsed on mom's side since the get-go. So, but I probably didn't lean into it seriously until my college years. So that takes it back a little ways.
And Glenn, you're a multidisciplinary artist. I saw that you do documentary and street photography. Love that. Tell us about your passion for the history of your art, and what you plan to share at Bfree.
I think all artists struggle with defining their practice. Multidisciplinary seems to be at times perfect, at times catch-all. But it's true. It's really ultimately storytelling. Street photography is my anchor historically. I interestingly started diving into the history of art, but specifically history of photography at the same time that I was beginning to learn more about photography. So there was always kind of a parallel level of critical engagement with my own practice, even in real time as I was moving through the world with my camera. I was also interested in this idea, the tension of what's happening outside of the frame, not just what's inside the frame, but what's the context you can't necessarily see. So even as a documentarian, even as a street photographer, I was beginning to think about the thematics of my own work, and then the move toward a more broad examination of my role as a photographer in the community that I'm living in, working in, photographing, and the idea of layering all of those experiences and allowing multiple perspectives, not just my own, to contextualize the frame and break out of the frame. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
it answered it beautifully. Well stated. Appreciate that. We're chatting with Glen Wilson, an artist, having an exhibit at Bfree Studio in La Jolla, joined by his colleague April Banks. We're going to get to April in a few seconds over here, joined by Zach Dobbins, gallery manager for Bfree Studio. I'm Drew Schlosberg, as you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show on Cloudcast Media. Again, brought to you with Mission Fed, crediting in these beautiful Mission Fed studios here in Scripps Ranch. Mission Fed's been doing great things for more than 60 years. And so, listen, we're so honored. And thank you, Susan Clausen, for bringing in these accomplished folks on the show and stuff. And so, April, you have had your art exhibited all over the world. Space Station Mir next for you folks to have some stuff, maybe, or maybe Mars or something?
likely.
Yeah. Well, I was actually thinking underwater,
Very, very good. Then you got to learn how to scuba dive. Maybe you know how to scuba dive in that matter. But talk a little bit about, was your family born and raised in Virginia?
My father was born and raised in Virginia. My mom in Chicago, but I grew up in Virginia. Yes. And so I have deep roots in Virginia.
Yeah. What part of Virginia?
I grew up in Manassas.
Okay.
But my dad's family is from Southern Virginia, Danville area. Yeah.
So how did, the roots of Virginia inspire the type of art you do, or did it?
Yeah, I think I explore in the work that I'm showing at Bfree. I was exploring my family's version of storytelling, but also memory, in the way that everyone in a family has a different memory about a particular thing. So two of the pieces are looking at my father's family. One, the house that my father grew up in, which is for actually now 5 generations. And so there's a lot of stories there. There's a lot of life lived there. And everyone has a different perspective, but also the house started to disintegrate. And so I've been documenting it and wanted to capture how the built environment can be as ephemeral as our memory. And so I think a lot of my work is around capturing the stories of place and of community and of families. And so for this particular work, I was looking at my own family, which was the first time that I did that. So it felt both I don't know. It felt, I don't know how to describe it, but it was a turn.
Here's what I want to ask you. It's really interesting. I mean, before I turn it over to Aaron, actually, I'll have Aaron do this when we come back from break. But before we go to break, so you're in LA now, correct? In
Yes.
LA, where I grew up, very different than Virginia, to say the least. I went to the school at the University of Mississippi for a year, which is very different than LA, and I enjoyed the South. I really did. Very different in that aspect of it. But do you see similarities at all between LA and where you grew up in Virginia?
That's a great question. I don't know that anyone's ever asked that.
Because that is my job, is to stump the guest.
Well, I'll say this. Where I first landed, which is in Altadena, with my mother's family, a lot of her family had migrated here to the West. There still, at that time, was very much, large groups of families living together in neighborhoods or communities. And it also, feels a little more, I wouldn't say rural, but definitely Altadena has a very different feel than the rest of Los Angeles. So in a lot of ways, that felt a little closer to Virginia. And then, having family on one block and then be able to walk a couple of streets over, to see a cousin, that felt, like the South in a way.
That's right.
And yeah, I mean, maybe that's about the extent of it, but I'm sure I'll come up with something after this call is over.
Well, of course you will. Why can't I tell Drew this? When we come back from break, we're going to ask both of you folks, what are you going to be exhibiting at Bfree, of course, and then get back to Zach and all the cool, how long will this exhibit be going on? What other exhibits are coming up? So we're going to be right back with our friends from Bfree Studio, Zach Dobbins, the gallery manager, and to the exhibiting artist, well-known, talented artist we have with us, Glen Wilson and April Banks. I'm Drew Schlosberg, joined by my co-host, Aaron Tanner, as you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show on Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing cool things in San Diego for more than 60 years. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we are chatting with our friends from Bfree Studio, Zach Dobbins, gallery manager, joined by two artists that are exhibiting right now at Bfree Studio, Glen Wilson, April Banks, joined by my colleague, Aaron Tanner. And we're going to start with you on this one, Glen. Aaron has a question for you.
Yeah, I think we touched on a little bit on this before. What are you planning on sharing at Bfree Studio?
There are a mixture of works. The show coalesced around a conversation that's been happening between the other two artists, April Banks and June Edmonds. All of us have, differences in our practice, but we all connect around the topic that April was just touching upon, which is this idea of stories of place, collective memory, how the definition and dynamism and fabric of place are all shifting around the different perspectives that can be represented in those spaces. So for me, I've been working on a series called Gatekeeping, and as my neighborhood has changed in Venice, and I've had the opportunity to travel places like New Orleans or Detroit, back to Columbus, Ohio, where I'm from. I see similar pressures changing the fabric of neighborhoods. And so I began just collecting objects, and specifically chain link gates from the area that I live in. I'd see homes demolished overnight that had been there for 40, 50 years. And other than just being alarmed about the vectors and velocity of gentrification, I also was thinking about what happens to the collective memory. Mm-hmm. So at that point, I started engaging with chain link as a material, something I never imagined doing. And so the works you'll see at Bfree, there'll be a few representative pieces from the Gatekeeping series, some of which are the actual gates themselves, others of which I call that are more like a tapestry treatment. They've broken outside of the frame of the gate, but they're still working with the material. I've also got a couple of layered sort of collage assemblage pieces. I tend to work in series, so I always refer to the series element series, where I've used symbols that you'd see in a drum kit and applied them to a wooden spine, and then started to layer them with imagery as sort of a nod to the idea that there are these layers and there are these frequencies and vibrations. And also, similar with the gates, I'm interested in having folks be able to engage the work and bring their own energy to the work. So you'll see the element series, the Gatekeeping series, and then something that I've been working on with April is a collaborative project that she sort of brought to the fore around the Ebony Beach Club, which was an unrealized, fully imagined, fully launched, but unrealized or thwarted vision of an entrepreneur, a Black entrepreneur here in Los Angeles in the mid-'50s, who April can tell you much more about it. His property was seized by eminent domain. So you'll see a piece or two in the show representative of that collaboration, and then beautiful work by April and June Edmonds.
No, that's terrific. So we're again chatting with Glen Wilson, artist of be exhibiting at Bfree Studio, joined by April Banks. I can't wait to ask you some questions about this chain links. I'm always going to, well, next time I look at a chain link fence, by the way, Glen, your name and your face is going to pop up. I'm very serious in a very positive way in that aspect of it. I never thought about that, and you're so spot on with place. You'd mentioned New Orleans. That's my second city. I've been there 35 times, and I love that place and the soul of the South, for so many different reasons and so forth. And, it was great when Zach came on before and brought in just two talented artists. I was fascinated about the pieces they were dealing with. And you're going to have to remind me what that was. I want to say popsicle sticks, but I don't think I was right on that one.
I think it was the sauce packet pieces that we talked about last time. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm old and feeble. I can't remember anything. Absolutely. So, April, talk a little bit about what you're doing at Bfree.
So I'm showing two works that I mentioned before about my family history. Right. One called Possession is 9/10. It's the casting, the negative casting of a violin that has many stories about its origin and demise in my family, from basically what happened to this Stradivarius violin that was given to my grandmother. None of which can be confirmed or verified. And so I remembered this story as a kid, and as a grown up, I went back and checked. I'm like, did I make this up, or was this something that was told? And the same thing, everyone had a different version of the story. And I love the way that memory works in that way. And so I wanted to cast it over and over and over again, knowing that I'm not a master at plaster casting, that it was automatically going to show the differences in memory and the way that memory is replicated over time. So that's one piece. The other is the encaustic wax piece that looks at my family home in Southern Virginia. There's another piece that I just did last year called Elevate. It's called Future Ancient. The pattern is taken from another sculpture called Elevate. And it's really looking at the language of pattern work and mapping that I have been exploring lately. So it's a kiln glass piece, kind of like stained glass that's lit from behind. Really beautiful. And I hope you get a chance to check it out if I do say so myself. And then the piece that Glen mentioned about the Ebony Beach Club, which is a project that we're working on together, reimagining this social club that never got to exist. And so we've been having conversations around how to reimagine basically what other people's dreams are or intentions were. And we're excited about all the different stories that this piece and the way that we both look at archives and memory and story and how it represents that.
No, that sounds terrific. Again, chatting with April Banks and Glen Wilson, artists that are going to have their works exhibited at Bfree Studio. I'm Drew Schlosberg, joined by my co-host Aaron Tanner, and with Zach Dobbins, the gallery manager. Man, I need to have you guys on every single week. I learn more about art from Glen and April in the short thing than I've done my whole life, and all due respect to my mom, because I couldn't do a stick figure, as I mentioned before. But this must be music to your ears, Zach, when you have folks at this level that are going to be exhibiting there.
Yeah, I mean, it's wonderful to have these engaging conversations in La Jolla and in a space that maybe has a little bit more of that, not higher energy, or maybe a little bit. It's beautiful to have those conversations brought to a space where they're normally not had. There's a safety, I think, around La Jolla where you're not really confronted by much. Everything's locked behind doors of the galleries or the things. And I really think that this exhibition is bringing that forward, and which is important to I think the mission of the gallery itself. And personally, I think those are things that need to happen.
Yeah, I mean, the opportunity this morning to hear from the artists themselves behind, we get to go and see the work normally in a gallery and have our own experience with it, getting to hear where this came from, the roots of it, how far back it goes. I think in planning a trip with somebody that I do life with, they're, interviewing their mother right now. They're on a 10-day trip with them to find out the legacy of their family and ask these questions. And April, at like 4:30 this morning, I was diving into all of your work, just stalking you on the internet. And and I saw the violin piece, and now hearing, I guess in the piece, I'll leave for people to come and experience, but I get to see what you said about these different memories and how the story was told different, and then the piece itself. Yeah, gosh, so neat.
Yeah, and there will be an opportunity at the gallery to meet with the artists. I think the biggest, climax of this exhibition will be the artist talk that we plan to have. As of now, May 13th is that's the big pinnacle of this exhibition, where we're going to have all three of the artists here, as well as art critic Sally Yard, who's writing a really great description of the exhibition itself, and really helping tell the story that we want to tell to a larger audience, where she'll be hosting and talking between all of the artists and seeing how they are all in conversation, yet independent, through their own works.
Now, do you need tickets for that? Do you just show up? How's that work?
We prefer if people RSVP, just so we can get an idea of numbers, but there's no ticket sales or anything like that. It's being hosted at the gallery at Bfree Studio in La Jolla. Right,
exactly. So why don't you shout out that address one more time?
Yeah, it's going to be at 7857 Girard Avenue in La La Jolla, the best place to find information about the events, and if anything, as our exhibition goes up, will be bfreestudio.net. That's the best place to find information, as well as our Instagram, which is Bfree Studio.
So Glenn, in April, I'll get to meet you in person if I make it up there on May 13. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Good. And then you can ask me, you can grill me with questions if you so desire on that. What an absolute honor chatting to both of you. And I'd love the fact that it's focused on place. And almost to the point where Aaron is talking about, everyone there's going to experience their own visions of what place is. They'll see it with Glen and the Chain Link, the Ebony Beach Club with you. Just absolutely fascinating, and wishing you folks nothing but great success in all of your endeavors, Bfree Studio and beyond. I hope to see you on the 13th. And Zach, keep on bringing in these great artists. Would love to have them, come in the studio. We learn so much from it, and we all know that art makes the world go around. Art and music, simple as that. And if we just did that, we'd grab some DNA back in this world that we certainly need. Glenn and April, just absolutely a pleasure chatting with you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
It was lovely. Thank you.
Absolutely our honor, and good seeing you again, Zach. Again, shout out one more time where people can get to the exhibit.
Yeah, the exhibit will actually be up. We're aiming for April 22nd through June 10th. The opening reception will be on the 29th of April, where it'll just be, the champagne night and all that fun stuff. But like I said, the climax will be that artist talk on Saturday, May 13th. But you can find all this information at bfreestudio.net, and the location is 7857 Girard Avenue in La Jolla.
That sounds great. Aaron Tanner, always great having you on my sidekick over here. Great questions about our artists, and you've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show on Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing wonderful things for San Diegans for 60 years. We hope you enjoyed the program.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.